Welcome to this month's episode of Chamber TV. We're on the road at Ethan Allen to talk with our first guest, Shawn Pierce of Experient, who will talk about how to create awareness for your brand at Expo 2013. We'll also be joined by Christopher Madden to discuss our country's currency. Our third annual summer tour continues with episode 32, hosted by Kelly Beach and Jon-Mikel Bailey.
Everybody to episode 32. I am Kelly Beach, sitting in for Lauren Hagan, and I'm here with my charming co-host Jon-Mikel Bailey.
Thank you. Welcome back. If you're watching online, you've already found our YouTube channel. We're also posting photos, links, and other updates online at the Chamber's new blog, frederickchamberblog.org. With the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg this month, which is the sesquicentennial, thank you, many of us will be thinking about Frederick's own connections to the American Civil War. We might recall Frederick's role as a hospital town, or perhaps her status as the temporary home for the Maryland legislature. However, most of us may not know about the Confederate ball that was held in Urbana.
So in September of 1862, General Lee moved his Confederate troops north to his Maryland campaign. While traveling through Maryland, General Stuart and his cavalry stopped to rest in Urbana. While resting his troops, he decided to hold a dance for his men and the ladies of Frederick County at the Landon House.
I often feel the urge to dance when I'm in Urbana. During the ball on September 8th, news broke out about approaching Union forces. Stuart and his men were then forced to leave the dance and confront the small group of Union cavalrymen that were moving toward Frederick. When Stuart returned from the brief skirmish, he and his cavaliers simply carried on with the festivities and resumed dancing. This event is now referred to as the Interrupted Ball.
Okay, so that's my kind of general, right?
Right?
Yeah, totally. This month's factoid is brought to you by the Historical Society of Frederick County. Stay tuned for our first special guest, Shawn Pierce of Experient.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 30 of Chamber TV. Refreshments for our live studio audience were provided by Palm Tree Catering.
The Chamber's Business Expo is the largest expo of its kind in Frederick County. We expect more than 150 companies to be represented there on Tuesday, September 24th.
If your business is exhibiting at the expo, be sure to make the most of your investment by providing the best booth experience for potential and current clients and customers. It's packed.
It is. Our first guest is Shawn Pierce, the President of Registration and Housing at Experient. Shawn has more than 20 years' experience in trade show development and management. Please join us in welcoming Shawn.
Thanks for coming in today, Shawn. To begin with, tell us three main reasons that a business would want to exhibit at a trade show, particularly at something like the Chamber's Expo.
Sure. There's no better forum than face-to-face meetings to get business done. It's been proven over and over and over again. Advertising in magazines and newspapers is a great way to get your name out there. When it comes down to doing actual business, looking somebody in the eye makes a difference. Being able to touch and feel products in front of you makes you connect with that product. And last but not least is learning. Being able to learn from peers, learn from businesses, and learn new techniques for your business to grow.
Experiential.
Exactly. What are a few common misconceptions people have about exhibiting?
I think the first is that it's just too expensive. The price is just too high to make it worth their while. And that's just, it is a myth. When you weigh the price and the cost of going to an exhibit against the right kind of mediums, which is not purely advertising or just going to a one-on-one meeting with a client, when you think about what it costs you to go out and meet with 20, 30, 50 prospects and current clients, that cost is really what you're weighing being in a nice exhibit space for. And how much is the opportunity value worth to you weighed against the cost of the booth? Another one is that it's a boondoggle. This has been something that's been in the news lately, as we've seen the GSA and other people take bad advantage of certain attributes of being on the road. But event experience typically has those first attributes that we talked about a minute ago, being experiential, but it's not a boondoggle in any shape, way, or form. If you're doing it right and you put a professional look to it, you can do really good business at a trade show.
That's why it pays to take it seriously. So, for the people smart enough to exhibit at the expo, what are three tips you would give for them to make the most of the exhibit space?
I think first it's being active and engaged. Often I go to trade shows, and I go to hundreds and hundreds of trade shows a year. People sit in their booths, they'll talk to each other. They won't talk to people coming by in the aisleways. This is the first bad thing you can do. Don't talk to your friends you brought. You can talk when you go home or later at night across from a beer or something. Second, bring products that you truly have value to the audience that's going to be at the show. Don't bring your entire storefront or every opportunity that you have. That's silly. You cannot display them all properly. Bring the ones that the most interest for that particular audience to the show and put them out front and be ready to talk about them in an engaging way. Engage people actively and openly, constantly throughout the event.
Smart.
Do you recommend any references where exhibitors can find more tips on how to exhibit?
Sure. So there's a couple of great places. The first is this site called The Center. The Center is run by a group called International Exhibitions and Events Management Group. The website for it is iceem.org. That is a great site. It has all kinds of resources on how to create a budget for the event, how to plan for your marketing prior to the event, what people to bring, what to have as an emergency kit, what to do in backup plans, all the things you need to really be successful exhibiting. Second place is each event typically puts out a thing called an exhibitor kit, a service kit that has good information on when you should order things, but also how you should represent yourself, what the audience demographics are going to be. Read this literature. The organizers put that together on purpose and didn't mean for you to leave it in the shrink wrap in your car. They want you to actually read it and understand what's going on at that event. The events can make you very successful, but you have to be active, engaged, and do your homework. Last but not least, to be successful at these events, you, as an exhibitor, are also responsible for marketing. This is not just the responsibility of the organizer. You need to get the word out to your current customers and also prospects to have them come to this event and see you. Yes, is it going to be side by side, perhaps with one of your competitors? Great. You should welcome that. You should have good faith in your own products and services to stand side by side and put yourself up against them and say, I think my products are better. These will help you be very successful at the event.
That's awesome.
This is all fantastic advice. Thank you, Shawn. All of the information you need about sponsoring, exhibiting, or attending Expo 2013 is available on the Chamber website, frederickchamber.org. Stay tuned until the end of the show for more information about Expo 2013.
All right. We're going to go back to Positively Frederick this time, and as I mentioned,
positive. We just said we can't avoid it. Go ahead.
As I mentioned before, on the Chamber blog, you'll find a category called Positively Frederick, and this is where anyone can write a story about a positive experience they had in Frederick County.
I was trying really hard not to say the name Matt Doyle, but oh well. This month's post was submitted by the wonderfully talented, awesome man known as Matt Doyle of the Plumunded Companies. In his post, Matt talks about the Generation Connect second annual crab feast on June 22nd.
I was there. About 80 young professionals attended, and young at heart, attended the Not Your Mama's Crab Feast. It's the second annual one at Searsville Mansion, where we had all-you-can-eat crabs. We played games of cornhole. There were 2 bands. It was awesome. Generation Connect has events where it's a great way for anybody who wants to learn how to network, especially the young professionals of the world, can do it in a very casual setting.
I'll be speaking to some of those young whippersnappers in September. This year, the proceeds from all Generation Connect events benefit the Hospice of Frederick County, the Gen Connect charity of 2013. If you want to check out the full story, visit the Positively Frederick category of the Chamber blog. Remember that link is frederickchamberblog.org. All right. Let's get into some member-to-member spotlights. One of the many benefits of being a Chamber member, and one is exclusive member-to-member discounts. Not only are you saving money, but you're supporting local businesses too. This month we have specials from Searsville Mansion and Sanctuary Salon. Searsville Mansion is offering a seated luncheon package, only $15 per person for soup or salad, 1 entree, and 1 side.
Their food is really good too. Sanctuary Salon is offering a free haircut to new customers who are Chamber members. You can find these discounts and many more on our website. Visit frederickchamber.org and click on the big red button that says Member-to-Member Coupons.
Are you interested in supporting Chamber TV? Each month an episode sponsor will be recognized during this commercial break. To learn more about promoting your company on Chamber TV, call 301-662-0745.
Our next guest is one of only 3 professionals trusted with the task of engraving the designs used on U.S. currency. Pretty cool.
I met Christopher Madden when he came to set up his artwork in the Chamber training room. We were talking, and he told me about this National Geographic episode called Inside America's Money Vault, where he is featured for his unique profession. Please join us in welcoming Christopher today.
So thanks again for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about the dollar bill. Can you tell us a little bit about what parts of the design on our bill ensures its legitimacy?
Well, money is a trust-based instrument. So it's the point of exchange of a bill, whether it's a $1 bill or a $100 bill. We only agree it's worth $99 more than the other. There are certain overt and covert components to the banknote that will, at that point of exchange, at that point of commerce, you can feel money. It has a distinctive feel to it, and it has a distinctive look to it. And those all have to do with very simple sensory considerations. And those sensory considerations come out of the work that I do in engraving. Engraving is a very simple tool-based approach to cutting lines into a piece of steel, and the ink is put into these lines, and under the pressure of a printing press you end up with a very distinctive quality print that gives you that tactility, that feel of currency when we exchange it, and also that three-dimensional quality of the ink setting up on the substrate. And I should say that I'm just one of many professionals, even though there are only 3 picture engravers, there are many professionals that do come together to create this very unique and abstract product.
So in terms of legitimacy, money is constantly changing hands, and you know, many people don't even look at the money as it's going from hand to hand. Our government is, of course, concerned about fake currency, as we've seen in the updates in the $20 bill and such. But why is it equally important for a local shop owner in town or employee to identify counterfeit money?
Well, as I said, currency is a very abstract instrument, and it's since President Nixon took us off the gold standard at the Bretton Woods Treaty of the early 70s, it's just valued at what the government says it's worth. It's fiat money. So at that point of exchange, if you have a shop and someone brings in a $100 bill or $50 to pay with, you want there to be that trust involved.
Right.
Even though it's not backed by something like gold or silver, there is that trust factor, and that's a very strange and somewhat fragile consideration in our modern world. So the trust comes out of the quality and those distinctive characteristics that I spoke of currency. And at that point of exchange, that's where you feel and see these things. Certainly at the Fed level or at Secret Service level, they have ways of finding and interdicting counterfeit currency. But we want to keep the trust level at the common, on the street, people-to-people type of situation.
Makes sense.
Christopher, are there any ways to easily identify fake currency?
Well, the most common is, as I was referring to, about the feeling of the currency. If you exchange a note, you can feel, since currency is a blend of linen and cotton, it's not a wood-based paper.
Right.
So if someone has made a piece of fake currency on a color copier, you're going to feel immediately a change in the texture of that quality of paper. So that's going to be a big tip-off. And then, as I said, the engraved features that gives you the tactility and three-dimensional quality. Then there are many covert and overt features that go into the note that will allow you to identify whether or not, like the security thread, different elements that you can look at and say, yes, this is real. The watermark, various things that go into currency.
So let's talk about some Benjamins here. We hear there's a new $100 bill in the works. Can you tell us more about, what it's going to look like and maybe why it's being changed?
Well, our understanding is that the note will be released to the public on or about October 8th of this year. And why it's such an important change, we have the mandate now to change currency every 7 to 10 years, theoretically. And that's to keep ahead of counterfeiters. And the emergence of digital technologies has really put this in fast forward and made it more important for us. prior to this, currency hadn't been changed since 1928.
Oh, wow.
So this, since the 90s, has become very important and becoming more so with each emergent technology that comes out. But if you consider that 85% of our currency, and especially the $100 bill, goes overseas, again, you're looking at that trust factor where you want the Europeans who might be holding American currency as a hard currency against the inflation or the recall of their own currency.
Sure.
You want them to do that rather than to go to a euro or another currency.
Right.
And so these new releases of new currencies, the 100, will give them that trust factor again to deal in American currency.
Money is expensive. Well, thank you for joining us. If you're interested in learning more about what we discussed here today, check out America's Money Vault on Nat Geo. A link to that video and more can be found online at frederickchamberblog.org. You can meet Christopher and see his art at the Coffee and Contacts on August 6th.
Plus, all of our audience will be getting this information on the new $100 note.
I thought we were getting a $100 note itself.
You didn't bring them? Thank you, Christopher. Okay, so for today's game show, we have two contestants who are going to be exhibiting at Expo 2013. We have Ron Kramer from Habitat for Humanity. Welcome, Ron. Tammy Feaster from Experient. Welcome, Tammy. How many years has the Expo taken place?
Time's up.
That's purple. Tammy.
18.
Correct. I'm going to turn up the volume. All right, ready? Number 2. According to post-event surveys, what are the 3 main reasons that professionals attend the Expo? Give me one.
To network.
All right, Ron, you got it. Ready? What is booth camp? Ron.
It's where you learn about setting up your booth at the
Time's up.
on August August 13th.
Yes, you have the date right too. All right, whoa. Bonus points. What is the taste of the Expo? Tammy.
It is where vendors can come and set up booths throughout the day, and there's no cost to them, and they can bring different appetizers, breakfast foods, lunch foods for people to taste and try.
Correct. Next question. How many attendees are expected at this year's event? Tammy.
1,500?
You got it. Next question. Only 2 to go. What is this year's theme? Ron.
Game show.
You got it. And last question. What's the deadline for exhibitor registration?
August 13th?
Time's up.
No, Ron, you know
August
it?
2nd.
Ron is our big winner for today. And you have won an additional entry into the grand prize at the Expo. I'm not sure what that is yet, but as soon as I find out,
And
you'll know.
I get half.
Okay, we'll split it.
Well, congratulations, Ron. Wrap it up.
All right, well, that wraps up episode 32 of Chamber TV. Mark your calendars to attend the Business Expo, the best event in Frederick County all year for business, on Tuesday, September 24th.
We posted. Oh, did I go too fast?
Yeah, you went
Sorry.
too fast. As always, there's a lot going on at the Chamber. Make sure you check the calendar on our website, frederickchamber.org, to see all of our upcoming events.
Now me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We posted links to all the topics we discussed today on our new blog, frederickchamberblog.org. This month's show is made possible by the following volunteers and donors.
That sultry voice you heard at the beginning was Sean Morrissey, our announcer.
Lauren Hagan wrote our script.
Mindy Banky was our cinematographer, and Ethan Allen, Design Center at the FSK Mall, hosted us on our second stop of the summer tour. Give it up.
Yay! Catering for our live studio audience was provided by our new chamber member, Palm Tree Catering, who, by the way, has the best tres leche cake in town. So let's give them a hand.
Thank you to our wonderful audience, and thank you for tuning in.